On the news tonight, President Bola Tinubu reaffirms commitment to Nigerian diaspora for their contributions to national development. Federal government ordered ministries, departments, and agencies to include global planning system data for 150 million naira in 2025 budget framework. Environmental sanitation in Delta sees active participation amidst strict enforcement. And abroad, Cameroon election body rejects candidacy of Paul Biya, main opposition. Hello, a warm welcome to Delta Television Main News. I am Tony Eluaka. President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed his administration's strong commitment to the Nigerian diaspora, hailing their economic, intellectual, and social contributions as central to the nation's development agenda. The president said this at this year's National Diaspora Day celebration held in Abuja. President Tinubu, represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, described Nigerians abroad as ambassadors at large, playing vital roles in reshaping the country's global image and advancing its growth. He said, theme of the event, optimizing formidable diaspora potentials for national development and growth, underscored the strategic importance of engaging the diaspora as a cornerstone of Nigeria's development strategy. President Tinubu spotlighted the increasing scale of diaspora remittances, pointing out that in 2024, Nigerians abroad sent home $20.9 billion through official channels, more than 4 times the value of the country's foreign direct investment. The president pledged that his administration would continue to prioritize diaspora-related policies and remove barriers that limit their contributions. The federal government has mandated that all ministries, departments, and agencies indicate the global positioning system coordinates for all capital projects valued at 150 million naira and above in their 2025 expenditure submissions. The directive, contained in the official implementation guidelines for the 2025 Appropriation Act, aims to improve transparency and accountability in the execution of capital projects nationwide. According to the new guideline issued by the Budget Office of the Federation, the requirement will apply to all MDAs submitting their monthly expenditure plans to both the Budget Office and the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. These plans are expected to be submitted by July 31, 2025 and will form the basis for cash planning throughout the year. It added that the Director General of the Budget Office must sign off on each MDA's expenditure plan to ensure alignment with the provisions of the 2025 Appropriation Act and the immediate priorities of the federal government. The measure is designed to strengthen the bottom-up cash management strategy currently in place and reduce cases of duplicated, abandoned, or untraceable projects. It is also expected to enhance project verification processes and support digital monitoring tools by enabling the independent tracking of project locations. In addition to the new GPS requirement, the guideline reiterated that procurement planning must commence immediately and must be strictly aligned with approved budget provisions. It also warned that capital budget implementation will not be extended beyond December 2025. Residents of the Capital Territory gave a good account of themselves today as the state monthly environmental sanitation witnessed full mobilization, strict enforcement, and active monitoring. Henry Unogwa completes the report.
The State Ministry of Environment, in collaboration with the State Task Force on Environmental Sanitation, environmental marshals from the Oshimili North and South local government areas, and a strong contingent of security operatives enforced the restriction of vehicular and pedestrian movement during the period of the exercise. Residents and business owners were not only monitored, but compelled to participate actively in the cleanup, even as those found defaulting were subjected to community service as a corrective measure. No arrests were made, though the enforcement was thorough. Speaking to newsmen during the monitoring tour, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Environment, Mr. Godwin Enone, who led the enforcement team, expressed disappointment over the nonchalant attitude of many residents who failed to comply, as some of the youths took advantage of the exercise to play football at the Nebisi Road. Mr. Nonne said the exercise had helped increase awareness on environmental cleanliness, adding that the ministry will step up advocacy efforts and work as a team alongside key stakeholders to achieve a clean and safe environment in the Capital Territory and the state in general.
It should be compliance. You know, your environment is very paramount. It's very close to your health, you know. Still going to do our sensitization, just like we told them to be patronizing the PSP, and most of them to make sure that they observe the sanitation day whenever it's the last Saturday of the month.
The monitoring team moved from the Apu Junction on Okpanam Road to Okpanam Community in Oshimili North Local Government Area, where environmental marshals ensured total compliance, while shop owners, particularly at the spare parts market along the Mami Market axis in Asaba, clearing gutters and tidying up their surroundings under close supervision. Henry Onogwa reporting.
The Federal Housing Authority, FHA, has lamented its exclusion from national budgetary appropriations in recent years, but reaffirmed its commitment to providing affordable housing for Nigerians. The agency announced plans to commence housing projects in 17 states, despite operating solely on internally generated revenue, IGR. This was disclosed during the commissioning of the revitalized 100 units at Joda Housing Estate in Ibadan. Although the specific states were not named, the FHA Managing Director, Honorable Oyetunde Ojo, emphasized the agency's resilience and innovation in delivering on its mandate through alternative funding strategies. Honorable Ojo urged the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, FMBN, to intensify efforts in educating Nigerians about mortgage opportunities to enhance access to affordable home ownership. The FHA, which is currently constructing 336 housing units in Buari FCT, also has an ongoing public-private partnership PPP project involving 820 housing units in the Apo Guzape area of Abuja. Under the renewed Hope Housing Program, the agency had aimed to commission 1,000 units by December 2024. However, many of the units projects were stalled or abandoned. Speaking at the Ajoda commissioning, Honorable Ojo explained that the partial commercialization of FHA had led to its removal from the National Assembly appropriation process, compelling the authority to explore alternative funding sources such as PPPs and bond issuance from the capital market. Despite the challenges, Ojo said the commissioning aligns with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. The federal government has directed the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, TRCN, to completely eliminate unqualified teachers from the classrooms. Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, gave the directive during the inauguration of the 5th Governing Council of the TRCN in Abuja. Dr. Alausa also asked the council to revoke licenses of teachers who tarnish the dignity of the profession. He said it was no longer business as usual for the teaching profession in the country, as the country was poised to enforce best practices in the teaching profession. The minister charged the council to leverage digital tools to streamline teacher certification, track continuous professional development (CPD), and anticipate the evolving demands of a modern learning environment, including artificial intelligence, AI integration, and hybrid instruction. Dr. Lausa charged the members of the council to enforce the ethical code of the profession with courage and praise excellence where it exists. He also admonished the council to work closely with state governments, teacher unions, and global education bodies like UNESCO to elevate its standards to global benchmarks. The chairman of the governing council, TRCN, Comrade Mustafa Saliu, assured the minister of the board's unwavering commitment to deliver on the mandate given to them. The Federal Ministry of Education has debunked reports that the minimum age for admission into junior secondary school, JSS1, has been raised to 12 years. In a statement by the Ministry's Director of Press, Mrs. Folashade Bariowo, said the report was entirely inaccurate, adding that they do not come from any official source and do not reflect government policy. It clarified that the minimum age for admission into JSS1 remained 10 years and urged the public and education stakeholders to disregard any contrary claims. The statement also said the prescribed minimum age for admission into Nigerian universities was 16 years and emphasized that the policy was consistent, non-negotiable, and regardless of how early a student completed secondary school. The Federal Ministry of Education urged the public, educational institutions, and media outlets to always seek clarification from official sources before acting on or publishing unverified information. President Bola Tinubu is set to honor no fewer than 210 ESCO members at the President's National Youth Corps NYSC Honors Award for 2020 to 2023 service years. This was disclosed in a statement issued in Abuja by NYSC's Director of Media, Mr. Emeka Mbermana. The statement said the award ceremony will hold on Tuesday at the banquet hall of the Presidential Villa. Mr. Mbermana said that the awardees are made up of 200 ESCO members who excelled meritoriously in all the 4 cardinal programs of the NYSC. The programs, he said, are orientation course, primary assignment, community development service, and winding up and passing out. Others will also be honored by the President under the NYSC Hope Alive initiative are 10 ESCO members that suffered various degrees of permanent disabilities while serving their fatherland. The statement added that the Minister of Youth Development, Mr. Ayodele Olawonde, Director General of NYSC, Brigadier General Olakunle Nafiu, and the NYSC management were looking forward to welcoming the award beneficiaries and guests to the event. The statement further said, President Bola Tinubu has assured power generation companies GENCOs of the federal government's commitment to settling outstanding debt pending a thorough audit process. The assurance was given during a meeting with the Association of Power Generation Companies at the State House, Abuja. The meeting details were disclosed in a statement issued by presidential spokesperson Mr. Bayo Onanuga. The delegation was led by retired Colonel Sani Bello and included other key industry stakeholders. President Tinubu reiterated his commitment to resolving liquidity challenges affecting Nigeria's electricity sector. He urged power firms and financial institutions to remain patient during the verification process. He emphasized support for a market-driven electricity sector and acknowledged unresolved legacy issues. The president appealed to banks for cooperation in resolving financial constraints. President Tinubu stressed that stable electricity is crucial to national growth and citizens' well-being. The Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RISEC, is set to unveil the revised timetable and guidelines for the 2025 local government elections in the state. In a notice signed by the chairman, Dr. Michael Ebali Ode, stakeholders have been invited to a general meeting on Monday at the RISEC headquarters in Port Harcourt. The meeting, which is scheduled to start promptly at 2 p.m., will bring together leaders of registered political parties, traditional rulers, security agencies, religious organizations, media representatives, professional bodies, civil society groups, non-governmental organizations, community-based groups, and the electorate. According to the notice, the highlight of the meeting will be the unveiling of the revised timetable and guidelines for the elections. The Attorney General has urged the Supreme Court to mandate Osun to return 7 months' worth of local government allocations. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, called on the Supreme Court to mandate the Osun State government to return 7 months' worth of local government allocations to the Minister of Finance. The request was included in a reply submitted by Fagbemi's lawyer, Chief Akin Olujumi, SAN, in response to a lawsuit initiated by the government through its Attorney General. Osun has filed a lawsuit against the Attorney General of the Federation as the only defendant, claiming that the federal government did not disburse the statutory allocations owed to its 30 local government councils for March 2025. In the legal case designated as SCCV 379-2025, the state government asserted that upon questioning the Minister of Finance regarding the pending allocation, the Minister of Finance, Wale Odun, purportedly responded that he was following instructions from the Attorney General of the Federation. The Attorney General refuted the allegation and questioned the validity of the lawsuit. He accused the state government of showing contempt by purportedly not complying with Supreme Court ruling from July 11, 2024. In a counter affidavit submitted by Tai Oloyede, the President's Special Assistant, the Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, maintained that neither he nor the Minister of Finance directed the withholding of funds meant for Osun's local government. Only local governments, not state governments, can seek redress for unpaid allocations. The AGF stressed that Osun State had improperly appointed itself as a watchdog over LG funds, despite not having authority to litigate on their behalf. The federal government has commenced efforts to rescue and repatriate a group of Nigerian workers stranded in the Central African Republic. This was following a viral video showing the distressed individuals abandoned in the Bambari region, about 850 kilometers from the country's capital, Bangui. In a statement by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Abuja, the government confirmed that officials of the Nigerian mission in the Central African Republic had successfully established contact with the affected nationals. According to the statement, the Embassy of Nigeria in Bangui is actively raising and liaising with local authorities to ensure the safety, welfare, and swift repatriation of the victims. The ministry said their passport had been collected and a vehicle had been sent to evacuate them. While reaffirming its commitment to the protection of citizens abroad, the federal government urged Nigerians seeking employment opportunities overseas to conduct proper checks on prospective employers and ensure all travel documents were in order. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) has alerted Nigerians to a new scam involving fake airline ticket promos used by fraudsters to steal personal information and siphon money from victims' bank accounts. In a statement by the Anti-Graft Agency, said the scheme disguised itself as a discount offer from foreign airlines but was powered by malware that grants hackers unauthorized access to victims' financial data. The commission said victims were tricked into downloading an app supposedly belonging to the airline, after which the details were harvested and used to move funds to microfinance bank accounts and fintech wallet. EFCC stated that the stolen money was often laundered through cryptocurrency purchases and decried the role of a group of young Nigerians described as account suppliers or members of the KYC group who helped fuel the fraud. According to the statement, these fraudsters pay unsuspecting citizens between 1,500 naira and 2,000 naira in exchange for sensitive identity documents such as the National Identification Number (NIN) slips, the bank verification numbers (BVNs), and passport photographs. The data is then resolved and resold to fintech firms for around 5,000 naira and used to open fake accounts that support investment scams and other criminal activities. The agency disclosed that arrests had been made and recoveries were ongoing. It warned Nigerians never to surrender their personal information to strangers or serve as account donors for any reason, saying such actions could compromise national security. You're watching Delta Television Main News. Still to come, Cameroon election body rejects candidacy of Paul Biya main opposition. Details on this story and more after this short break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back. You're watching the Delta Television main news. The global scene is next as we join our world news desk.
Cameroon's Electoral Commission has rejected the candidacy of Maurice Kamto, the main rival to President Paul Biya, in an upcoming presidential election, raising the risk of protests and the likelihood of another win for the incumbent. The chief of the Electoral Commission, Elekam, announced the decision in a press conference today when he read out a list of 13 approved candidates which did not include Kamto. No reasons were given. Those not listed have 2 days to appeal. President Biya, 92, has been in power for 43 years and he is the world's oldest serving head of state. He announced his intention earlier this month to seek re-election in the October 12 vote. Kamto had come in second place with 14% of the vote in the last election in 2018, which Biya won by a landslide amid allegations of fraud. At least 54 children and about 30 adults swam from Morocco to Spain's North African enclave of Ceuta in rough seas and fog. Video footage of Spanish television channel ROTVE showed civil guard launches making repeated rescue attempts to bring some of the swimmers to safety while others swam across to the enclave. The children, who were mostly Moroccan, were taken to temporary centers in Ceuta where authorities called for help from the central government in dealing with the latest arrivals. On August 26 last year, hundreds of migrants took advantage of a thick mist to swim to Ceuta from neighboring Morocco. In 2021, one boy was seen floating on empty plastic bottles in his attempt to reach Ceuta. Spain's 2 enclaves on Morocco's Mediterranean coast, Ceuta and Melilla, share the European Union's only land borders in Africa. The enclaves sporadically experience waves of attempted crossings by migrants trying to reach Europe. Moroccan nationals detained during the crossings are immediately sent back to Morocco unless they are underage or seeking asylum. People from other nationalities are taken to special centers where they are given shelter and released after a few days. 3 years ago, at least 23 people died in a stampede when about 2,000 migrants tried to storm into Melilla, pushing down the border fence.
And now to business. Let's join our business news desk for more happenings in the business sector.
The Naira ended the last 5 trading days largely flat across the various segments of the foreign exchange market, even as the nation's external reserve rose by $700 million. Data from the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) showed that the Naira depreciated slightly by 0.14% during the 5-day trading period, supported by a marginal increase in dollar demand. The local currency closed at 1,534.71 naira per dollar yesterday, indicating a week-on-week depreciation of 2 naira 17 kobo from 1,532.54 naira recorded on Monday, the first trading day of the week at the Nigerian foreign exchange market. At the same time, Nigeria's external reserves climbed to $38.63 billion as of July 24, 2025, compared to $37.93 billion on July 18, 2025. This represents a $700 million increase within a week, reflecting renewed inflows and positive sentiment around the Naira. Similarly, the parallel market, popularly known as the black market, remained relatively flat. The Naira traded at 1,532 naira per dollar yesterday, down slightly from 1,530 naira per dollar on Monday, representing a marginal loss of 0.13%.
And away from business, now to sport. Let's join our sports news desk for happenings in the sports world.
Nigeria's senior female basketball team, the Tigers, today kept their winning streak alive by easily beating Rwanda 92-45 in the second game of the 2025 Women's Afro Basket in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire. This is the Tigresses' 25th win in a row in the tournament, dating back to October 2015. Elizabeth Balogun scored the first basket with a mid-range shot, but the team from Rwanda didn't seem impressed. At this point in the game, they seemed ready to fight back. However, Rwanda never actually tried to fight back. Nigeria played a more disciplined game and won by 47 points. Bella Katete gave Rwanda a short lead to lead. Then, Ezine Kalu hit a mid-range jump shot that tied the game at 4-4. The current champions used an 8-0 scoring, and the East Africa team never again posed a threat for the rest of the game. Elizabeth Balogun led Nigeria in scoring with 18 points. Mureke Teta made some impressive plays, including an amazing block on former MVP Ezine Kanu in the third quarter. She also finished with 7 points and rebounds, but the trio of Elizabeth Balogun, Mujanatu Musa, and Victoria Macaulay proved crucial, contributing combined 43 points. Nigeria's bench proved crucial, scoring Rwanda's 37-13. But what hurt Rwanda the most were some of their continuing turnovers, which resulted in 25 Nigeria points. Destiny Filozi and Kesha Hapti were the only Rwandans to score in double digits, finishing 11 and 10 points. 5 Nigerians scored in double figures, including Elizabeth Balogun 18, Ami Okonkwo 10, Ifunanya Okoro 11, Mujanatu Musa 12, and Victoria Macaulay 13. The last time Nigeria and Rwanda played against each other in the semi-finals of the 2023 Women's Afrobasket in Kigali, Nigeria beat Rwanda, the host country, with a score of 79-48. Nigeria then won their 4th continental title in a row by beating Senegal in the final. The Rwandans were doing well as they returned to the international stage after an impressive 2026 Women's Basketball World Cup pre-qualifying tournament on their home court. But Nigeria reminded everyone yet again who is the best in the continent.
And there's the first goal.
AC Milan have beaten Liverpool 4-2 in a pre-season friendly play today afternoon in Hong Kong. Only days ago, the Serie A side lost 1-0 to another Premier League side, Arsenal, in Singapore. But against the English champions, Milan produced an excellent counter-attacking performance to run out winners. Rafael Leao, who was a constant threat down the left, opened the scoring in the half. Dominic Szoboszlai make it 1-1 before Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Noah Okafor took the game beyond Liverpool. Although Cody Gakpo pulled one back with a looping header, there was still time for Okafor to add a 4th for Milan.
That's our news. Now to our thoughts for the day. You cannot stop the wave, but you can learn to surf. Absolutely. To end Delta Television main news, here are the highlights. President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed his administration's strong commitment to the Nigerian diaspora, hailing their economic, intellectual, and social contributions as central to the nation's development agenda. The president said this at this year's National Diaspora Day celebration held in Abuja. The federal government has mandated that all ministries, departments, and agencies indicate the global positioning system coordinate for all capital projects valued at 150 million naira and above in their 2025 expenditure submissions. The directive, containing the official implementation guidelines for the 2025 Appropriation Act, aims to improve transparency and accountability in the execution of capital projects nationwide. Residents of the Capital Territory gave a good account of themselves today as the state monthly environmental sanitation exercise witnessed full mobilization, strict enforcement, and active monitoring. The State Ministry of Environment, in collaboration with the State Task Force on Environmental Sanitation, environmental marshals from Oshomili North and South local government areas, and a strong contingent of security operatives, enforced the restriction of vehicular and pedestrian movement and ensuring a complete lockdown during the period of the exercise. And abroad, Cameroon election body rejects candidacy of Paul Biya, main opposition. And that's the size of our package for tonight on Delta Television Main News. On behalf of the production team, I am Tony Eloaka. Have a good evening.